Every day, we engage in conversation not just with others, but with ourselves. And for many of us, that inner voice is not a friend. It criticizes, doubts, compares, and sometimes even destroys our confidence. But what if you consciously spoke to yourself with intention? What if you treated your inner dialogue as the most important relationship you'll ever have? For the next 21 days, I invite you to treat yourself like your own student, your own child, your own warrior in training. When you wake up, tell yourself, I am alive and that is a gift. Say it out loud even if it feels strange. When your feet touch the floor, whisper, today, I rise with strength. You don't need anyone's permission to become powerful. You only need your own voice to awaken your potential. Throughout the day, when doubt appears and it will pause, take a breath and respond like a wise master to a troubled student. This doubt is only a shadow. I choose clarity. When you feel tired, do not complain. Instead say, my body is working for me. I thank it. When things don't go your way, say, I am learning, I am adjusting, I am growing. Words are not just sounds, they are energy, they are tools. They build your future or they destroy your present. So, for 21 days, use your words like a skilled monk uses a sword with calm precision and deep respect. Before you go to sleep each night, place your hand on your heart and say, today I tried, I honored myself, I am enough. Do this every night, even if the day was difficult. Especially if the day was difficult, because the point is not perfection, it is presence. Presence with yourself. If you do this for 21 days, your thoughts will begin to change, not because of magic, but because repetition creates wiring. Repetition builds belief. Belief changes behavior, and behavior builds destiny. Shi Heng Yi teaches that true discipline starts with inner order. Talking to yourself with intention is the first step toward mastering your mind. Stop being your biggest critic and start becoming your most loyal guide. This journey is not about ego, it is about alignment. When your inner words match your deeper values, peace arrives. So the challenge is simple, but not easy. Talk to yourself with strength, with clarity, and with kindness for 21 days, and see the magic that begins to happen, not outside you, but within. The way you speak to yourself determines how you experience the world. Before any decision is made, before any action is taken, there is a thought, and that thought is shaped by the voice inside your head, the one no one else hears, but which controls everything. That voice becomes the filter through which you see yourself, judge your progress, interpret your failures, and understand your potential. If that voice is harsh, impatient, or negative, then even success will feel hollow. But if that voice is encouraging, grounded, and clear, then even your struggles will feel like stepping stones. Too often, people allow their inner voice to run wild, unchecked. It repeats old fears, inherited insecurities, societal pressure, and painful comparisons. You can live in a beautiful house, wear expensive clothes, and have admirers around you. But if your inner voice tells you you're not good enough, none of it matters. You'll still feel small. You'll still feel lost. That's why Shi Heng Yi emphasizes mindfulness, not just in movement or breath, but in words, especially the ones you say to yourself when no one is watching. Imagine if a teacher followed a student around all day, saying, "You're failing again. You're too slow. You'll never be enough." That student would eventually break. Now realize, most people do that to themselves every single day, and worse, they think it's normal, but it's not. It's self-abandonment. The inner voice must become your ally, not your enemy. You don't have to fake positivity. You don't have to recite empty mantras, but you do have to take responsibility for the tone and direction of your self-talk. Ask yourself, would I speak this way to someone I love? If not, why do I speak this way to myself? Words carry frequency, thoughts create chemistry, and over time, that chemistry becomes emotion, identity, and habit. If you want to change your life, you must begin by changing the tone and quality of your inner dialogue. That is where transformation starts, not in your environment, not in your circumstances, but in your internal narrative. You are the author of your story, and the pen is your voice. Speak with the intention to uplift, not tear down. Speak with patience, not pressure. Speak with belief, not doubt, because every word you tell yourself is either building your future or quietly dismantling your spirit. The first few moments after you wake up are sacred. They are a bridge between the unconscious world of dreams and the conscious choices of the day. How you speak to yourself in these first few minutes can define the rhythm of your mind, the posture of your body, and the energy that flows through your actions for hours to come. Yet, most people wake up and immediately reach for their phone, absorb other people's noise, react to emails, notifications, or negative news. Before their feet even touch the ground, their minds are already racing, comparing, and worrying. The day hasn't even started, and already their power is slipping away. Shi Heng Yi reminds us that mastery begins in the small, unnoticed rituals, and there is no ritual more powerful or more neglected than how we greet ourselves each morning. Instead of waking up and letting anxiety run the show, imagine opening your eyes and saying, "I am alive, I am here, this breath is a gift." These are not just poetic words, they are anchors. They are grounding cords that pull you into presence. Saying something powerful to yourself in the morning isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about reclaiming authorship of your internal state. It's about choosing your mindset before the world chooses it for you. You don't need to have slept well. You don't need to feel completely ready. But you do need to start by owning your voice. Because when you begin your day with an intentional affirmation, spoken aloud or silently, but consciously, you are planting a seed. Tell yourself, "Today, I rise with strength." Even if you feel tired, especially if you feel tired, say it until it feels less like a performance and more like a truth trying to emerge from within. These early declarations of strength are not meant to mask your struggles. They are meant to remind you of your capacity. You've overcome challenges before. You've stood tall in storms, and this day is no different. With each word of affirmation, you are signaling to your nervous system that you are not in danger. You are grounded, you are awake, you are choosing presence. This practice, simple as it seems, rewires how you relate to life itself. Instead of stumbling into the day, you are stepping into it, intentionally, respectfully, and powerfully. And as the days build upon each other, you'll notice a change, not necessarily in your circumstances, but in your stance toward them. You'll begin to feel more centered, less reactive, and more aligned. Doubt is not your enemy, it is a visitor. A messenger, a test of your awareness, but for most people, doubt becomes a loud, uninvited voice that takes over the room. It speaks in absolutes. You're not good enough. You'll fail again. Why even try? And because this voice sounds so familiar, so internal, we mistake it for truth. We don't challenge it, we surrender to it. But Shi Heng Yi teaches us that mastering the mind begins with watching the mind, not blindly believing it. You must learn to separate yourself from the voice of doubt. You are not the thought, you are the observer of the thought, and in this space between the two lies your freedom. When doubt arises, you have a choice. You can feed it or you can face it. Feeding it means repeating the same stories of limitation and fear. Facing it means responding, not with panic, but with clarity, Clarity does not mean having all the answers. It means remembering who you are beneath the noise. When the thought comes, "What if I'm not ready?" you can pause, breathe, and reply, "This is just a thought, not a command, not a prophecy." You consciously redirect it. You reclaim your inner ground. Negativity thrives in silence. When you do not respond to it, it grows unchecked. So don't ignore it. Engage it with awareness. When you feel yourself slipping into the old cycle, doubt, fear, paralysis, you interrupt it gently, like a master calmly guiding a restless student. You might say, "I see this fear, but I no longer act from it." Or, "I am choosing clarity over chaos." These are not affirmations to impress others. They are internal corrections, like steering a ship gently back to its course. And this takes practice. Every single time you replace a thought of despair with one of direction, you strengthen a new neural pathway. Every redirection is a repetition, and repetition is how identity is formed. This is how a wandering mind becomes a disciplined one. This is how weakness becomes resilience. In this way, you are not fighting doubt, you are disarming it. You are turning on the light instead of yelling at the darkness, and over time, the voice of doubt becomes quieter, not because it disappears, but because it no longer holds power over your decisions. You've learned to see it, meet it, and move forward anyway. Your body is your most loyal companion. From the day you were born until now, it has carried you through every challenge, every joy, every hardship. It breathes when you forget. It heals when you're wounded. It endures even when your mind wants to quit. And yet, how often do we treat the body with the respect it deserves? More often than not, we complain, "I'm too tired. My back hurts. I hate the way I look." We focus on the flaws. We measure it against filtered images, impossible ideals, or unrealistic expectations. This constant criticism creates a toxic relationship, not just with our body, but with ourselves. Shi Heng Yi reminds us that true discipline and self-awareness include how we speak to and care for the vessel we live in. Your body is not a machine to be pushed until it breaks. It is a living, breathing intelligence. A temple, and your words either honor it or slowly tear it down. When fatigue shows up, most people resist it. They get angry at themselves for feeling weak, for needing rest, for not keeping up. But what if instead you simply paused and said, "Thank you, body, for showing me my limits today. Thank you for carrying me through everything." That single shift from complaint to appreciation transforms your entire nervous system. It tells your mind, "We are safe. We are grateful. We are whole." Gratitude isn't passive, it's powerful. It doesn't mean you stop striving for strength or flexibility or health. It means you no longer abuse yourself in the process. When you acknowledge your effort, when you speak kindly to your fatigue, your soreness, your imperfections, you are choosing self-respect over self-rejection. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. The same goes for emotional or mental exhaustion. If your mind is overwhelmed, anxious, or scattered, don't pile on judgment. Instead of saying, "Why can't I focus?" say, "I've been carrying a lot. It's okay to feel this way. I will move forward gently." The body listens. The nervous system listens, and the more often you choose compassion over complaint, the more resilient you become, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Appreciation isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing to see the full picture. Your body may not be perfect. Your performance may not be ideal, but it is yours. It is sacred. And when you learn to speak to it like a wise mentor rather than a ruthless critic, you unlock a new kind of power, a power rooted in self-trust, balance, and quiet strength. Your mind is not fixed. It is a living, adapting system, constantly reshaping itself based on what it experiences most often. This is not philosophy, it is neuroscience. Every time you repeat a thought, especially with emotional energy, you strengthen a neural pathway. The more frequently that pathway is activated, the easier it becomes for your mind to default to it, like a trail in the forest becoming clearer the more you walk it. This is how beliefs are formed. This is how habits are built. And this is why repetition matters more than motivation. Shi Heng Yi teaches that transformation doesn't happen in grand, dramatic moments. It happens in small, consistent rituals. When you talk to yourself with intentional, empowering language every day, you are not just saying nice things. You are physically reshaping the architecture of your brain. You are creating patterns of thought that support your growth instead of sabotaging it. Let's say you start your day by saying, I am capable, I move with purpose, I honor my path. At first, your mind may resist. It may feel fake, but that is not a sign that it's not working. That is simply the old programming trying to hold on, keep going. The brain doesn't change because something feels true. It changes because something is repeated. And over time, that repetition begins to feel familiar. Familiar becomes comfortable. Comfortable becomes identity. This is the core of inner alchemy, turning your words into energy, your energy into action, and your actions into character. Just as a martial artist trains the same movement hundreds of times until it becomes instinct, you must train your inner dialogue until it becomes second nature, not forced, not fragile, but fluent, real. And it's not just about saying affirmations once or twice. It's about consistency. You must speak to yourself in alignment with who you want to become, not just when you're feeling good, but especially when you're struggling. That is when the wiring deepens. That is when the old, limiting beliefs are replaced by the new ones you consciously choose. Each word you repeat with intention is like water carving stone. At first, it seems like nothing changes. But give it time, stay with it. Eventually, the grooves become permanent. Eventually, your dominant inner voice becomes one of calm strength, discipline, and clarity, not because of chance, but because of conscious repetition. The way you close your day is just as important as how you begin it. Too often, people fall asleep replaying everything that went wrong, the things they didn't finish, the mistakes they made, the words they regret saying, or the opportunities they feel they missed. The mind, left unguarded at night, becomes a looping channel of self-judgment. This quiet erosion of confidence may not be obvious in the moment, but over time, it shapes how you view yourself. It conditions your nervous system to associate rest with guilt instead of peace. Shi Heng Yi teaches that mindfulness is not just about how we move or think, but also how we close. Closure is a spiritual act. Before you sleep, you are handing over your conscious control. You are surrendering to the unknown, and in that surrender, it is essential to bring a sense of completion, not perfection, not finality, but honest acknowledgement. Every night, place your hand on your chest, feel your breath, speak to yourself as someone worthy of love, effort, and grace. Say, I tried today. I did what I could with the energy and awareness I had. I am enough. These may sound like small words, but they are powerful medicine for a mind that constantly seeks validation through productivity. These words are a reminder that your worth is not tied to how much you accomplish. It is rooted in your presence, your intention, your sincere effort to live with integrity, even when no one is watching. This nightly ritual is not about denial or pretending everything went perfectly. If you failed, acknowledge it. If you lost your temper, recognize it, but don't stop there. Also acknowledge what you learned, how you showed up despite difficulty, and how you will try again tomorrow. This balanced reflection builds maturity. It teaches your mind that failure is a part of growth, not the end of your story. Ending your day with kindness toward yourself sends a signal deep into your subconscious. I am safe, I am seen, I am learning. And that signal affects how you sleep, how you dream, and how you wake up. It breaks the cycle of self-criticism that so many people carry unknowingly into their next day. Over time, this practice becomes a form of self-trust. You know that no matter what happens, you will not abandon yourself when the day ends. You become your own place of rest, not only for your body but for your soul. Most people believe discipline is about controlling the outside world, waking up early, exercising consistently, eating clean, avoiding distractions. And while all of those actions matter, they are only the surface. True discipline, the kind that lasts, the kind that shapes identity, doesn't begin with behavior. It begins with thought. It begins in silence. It begins in how you speak to yourself when no one else can hear you. Shi Heng Yi teaches that external mastery is a reflection of internal order. You can force yourself to get up at 5 a.m., but if your inner voice is filled with resentment, self-doubt, or chaos, you'll burn out. You can follow a rigid routine, but if the voice guiding you is angry or insecure, your results will feel hollow. Real discipline is not built on punishment. It is built on clarity, and clarity begins with mastering how you think and how you speak to yourself in the quiet moments. When your internal dialogue is aligned with your values, discipline becomes natural. You no longer rely on motivation or guilt. You move with purpose because your mind is clear, your energy is focused, and your thoughts are supportive. Instead of forcing yourself to act out of fear of failure, fear of judgment, you begin to act from alignment, from truth. For example, when the alarm goes off early and part of your mind says, just sleep a little longer, it doesn't matter. Discipline isn't just about jumping out of bed. It's about how you respond to that voice. Do you let it guide you, or do you calmly, firmly reply, I rise because I said I would. My word matters. That internal conversation is the discipline. Every decision starts there. Mastering that voice takes time. At first, it might be filled with excuses or laziness or harsh criticism, but you don't have to fight it. You need to retrain it. Like a wild horse, your mind needs patient, consistent guidance. Speak to it not as a tyrant, but as a wise leader. Replace I can't do this with this is hard, but I will grow through it. Replace I always fail with I am learning to get stronger with every try. These changes in language are subtle, but they shift the energy of your actions. And with practice, this internal leadership becomes automatic. You begin to notice your habits shifting, not because of force, but because your thoughts and actions are finally in harmony. You don't have to constantly battle yourself anymore. You become your own coach, your own guide, and that's when self-discipline transforms from a struggle into a state of being. Most people wait for the world to tell them who they are. They wait for praise, for likes, for approval, for some kind of external sign that says, you're enough now. But this kind of validation is fleeting. It's conditional. It can vanish in a moment. And when it does, so does your sense of worth if that's where it was built. This is why so many live in cycles of insecurity, constantly doing more, chasing more, proving more, just to feel momentarily worthy. But Shi Heng Yi reminds us that real transformation, the kind that lasts, doesn't come from outside affirmation. It comes from inner alignment. What is alignment? It's when your thoughts, your words, and your actions reflect the person you truly want to be. It's when you no longer say one thing but feel another, promise one thing but do the opposite. It's when your inner voice and your outer behavior no longer contradict each other. And that kind of alignment brings a peace that no amount of external praise can match. Practicing mindful self-talk for 21 days is not a gimmick. It's a deliberate recentering of your life. For 3 weeks, you become your own mirror. You become the sculptor and the stone. You replace judgment with curiosity. You swap harshness for strength. You stop waiting for the world to tell you you're doing well, and instead, you know you're on the right path because your own voice tells you so. This kind of transformation is quiet. There may not be fireworks. No one may even notice at first, but inside, a shift is taking place. You start walking into rooms without needing to prove yourself. You start making decisions that reflect who you are, not what others expect. You begin to feel an internal stability, like a tree rooted deep into the ground. You're no longer tossed around by other people's opinions, moods, or judgments, because your foundation is within. And the most beautiful part, you begin to recognize how little you actually need from the outside to feel fulfilled. The emptiness you once tried to fill with achievement or approval begins to dissolve. Why? Because your own inner voice, the one you've trained, the one you've nurtured, is finally speaking to you with truth, with courage, with love. And that voice doesn't fade when circumstances change. It doesn't disappear when things get hard. It stays because you built it. So now you understand. True transformation doesn't come from changing the world around you. It starts by changing the conversation within you. For 21 days, speak to yourself not with judgment, but with awareness. Begin each day with intention. Respond to doubt with clarity. Appreciate your body, respect your effort, and repeat empowering words until they become your truth. End your day by honoring your journey, not punishing your imperfections. This is not a trick. This is not a trend. This is how real alignment is built, from the inside out. Discipline, self-worth, peace. It all begins with the voice you hear the most, your own. If this message resonated with you, if you felt even a small shift in how you see yourself, then I invite you to walk this path with me. I'm here to bring you more content that not only motivates you, but transforms you. Please subscribe to this channel. Your support means everything, not just to help me grow, but to keep creating powerful, meaningful content that helps you grow. Let's continue this journey together. Thank you for watching. Speak wisely, live mindfully, and never forget, you are becoming who you choose to be, one thought at a time.